Yo YouTube, hope you're doing well today. I'm going to be bringing you guys a different kind of video because people have been asking for guide stuff from me more often lately. Now, it's hard for me to have time to come up with a bunch of scripts and everything, but I can at least share this with you right now. This is going to be my tips for you and explanations of various stages and how to use them to your advantage with various characters. And even if I don't go over your character, you should still be able to use the general ideas for your own character. And we're going to start today with a stage that I think a lot of people like to kind of get you started with the series. And that stage is going to be Yoshi's Story. So, a lot of people really like the level. It's a confined stage. I'm going to kind of talk about what that means and how you can use that to your advantage. And even if you don't like playing close, we're going to talk about what you can do as well. So let's go ahead and open up the level and get right to it. So we're on Yoshi's Story, okay? So when I say this stage is condensed, part of what I mean is that one factor of a lot of condensed stages is the bottom platform, the bottom of the stage, what I'm walking along here as Falco, is short. It's a lot shorter than most other legal stages or even most stages in the game. You can measure this in various ways. I usually use Bowser rolls, but even if we measure it in like Falco dashes, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then like a little tiny bit more. The only comparable one, just to show you really quickly, is Fountain of Dreams. Even if we do that again, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then there's a tiny bit more space on Fountain, so you can actually see that Yoshi's has the shortest bottom platform of the legal stages. Now, on this stage, there's something, so not only do we have the shortest bottom platform, which means, for example, if you play Marth, if you dash once, you could be very cornered if you're in the middle of the stage, so you have to be very mindful of your movement. There's a lot of implications of this I'll go through with various characters. But something else before we get into that is the platforms, because of course a lot of people really like the Yoshi's platforms, and we're going to kind of talk about why that is. So the Yoshi's platforms, they're pretty long. Okay, that's the first thing you need to know. For example, I was just on Fountain of Dreams a moment ago. Those platforms are much shorter, and you can also think of the Pokemon Stadium platforms, which are very, very small, right? So this is, this could be like double or maybe even more the length of like that Pokemon Stadium platform. Very long. I can be right here, do a full dash and not fall off. Not something you can necessarily say about some of the other platforms. So it's pretty long, right? I can even, let's see if I can do it. I can even do an aerial from one side and land on the edge. I'm not getting it right now, but it's something you can do as Falco. But it's also, I could make it ambiguous even if I wanted to and hold back and stay on the platform, which would be kind of weird. But let's kind of talk about the other thing about the platforms. These side ones and even this top one are really low to the ground. This means, I can hit through the platform with up tilt and back air if I'm Falco, which is pretty good, because that means if someone wants to shield on platform to say shield drop, I can space back air pretty safely and not be too worried about most options. Of course, Marth forward air and Sheik forward air are still issues, but this is something I can do to threaten them. So this is kind of the quick overview of Yoshi's Story. Small bottom platform, and then the other platforms, the top and side ones, are long and lower to the ground. Now, because they're long, you can actually link these platforms, which can be pretty big. I don't think a lot of people necessarily use them in this way. I think a lot of people go from side to top platform like this, or they'll just double jump and land. But you can go from the top platform to side platform, and you can do things like come back with an aerial like that, for example. And then you can mix going through or past the platform instead if you fast fall. So if you'll notice, one way to kind of use the stage to your advantage is to kind of look for the relationship between the platforms and the bottom of the stage, or the platforms and each other. So this is something you can kind of do with every character, where you test how you threaten everything on a given stage. And I can talk more about that in a moment. But we also have Randall. We see Randall moving along here. Now, Randall, the rule for Randall is he's a floating platform that comes along the sides of the stage, and then when he moves through the middle and then he comes back out the other side, he'll be out in just a couple seconds. As you can see, starts low on the right, starts high on the left, and then goes around and down. So ins on 9s, outs on 4s is the way I remember it. So every time you see a 9 on the seconds clock at the top of the screen, which I don't have because I'm in training mode, Randall will be out. And then I believe it's evens for the left and odds for the right. But if I'm wrong on that, chat will be spamming to correct me, and so you'll know. But the only other thing to know about this stage is there are fly guys that come through, and they are random. And this is the only true random part of the stage. It's not really connected to the timer. And these fly guys can interrupt your hits, or they can take charge shots or lasers from Falco, or if you're even hitting with something like Marth, it'll still slow your attack down, and you might not be able to get a follow-up you otherwise could have. So make sure that you're kind of watching for them. They can travel in groups, but you can see that we had 2 at a time, then we had 1 coming by later. Now, let's see. Something else you want to think about when you are trying to abuse stages is you want to think about what can your character attributes do to combine with the level. So for Falco, this is kind of an interesting scenario for him, because while laser is very strong, because of the condensed nature of the stage, it can be hard for Falco to keep his laser out. So this is because the platforms are so low, very easy for a lot of players and a lot of characters to get onto. And then it's easy to defend when you're on the platform too, right? You can run off with a very quick aerial, and because the platform's so low to the ground, you actually can get it out very quickly, and it can be very hard to react to. And something important to note is, so if I short hop and I drift with this back air, I go much farther when I wave land or I wave dash off the platform, and that's going to be because the platform is going to be higher up. So even though I'm not fast falling, I'm still going to just be going much farther because I start higher up. And I also don't have jump squat to go through once I am sliding from my wave dash, because the platform is going to kind of cancel any extra lag I have, and I'm just going to fall off. And of course, you can just run off with an aerial, and then it's much faster than if you say you jumped forward, right? So those are a couple things to kind of keep in mind. The platform being lower means it's much harder to react to an aerial coming off the platform, which can be strong with a lot of characters. But it also means if you're condensed, it's going to be hard to control with lasers, because people can jump away and use platforms to avoid. So that can seem like a problem for Falco, but we have one other attribute of Falco's that's really strong, and that's his fast fall. Very quick acceleration downwards. And so you can see I'm just running off and fast falling here, and how quickly he moves down. And remember, I can combine going to the side platform instead, and so that's going to be pretty good. But because this top platform is low to the ground, it's much lower than, say, Battlefield or Dreamland's top platform. That's going to allow me to attack very quickly from it. And this is something that Falcos that like this stage are able to do really well. And from the top platform, you'll kind of notice. Let's kind of move. Doc this way a little bit so I can kind of show you what this is like. Whoa. So you can see, even though Doc is pretty cornered right here, I can still hit him. And if he was shielding, I could hit him even if he was on the lip of the stage. And so this is something that allows Falco and Fox as well to have an immense amount of control on the stage, on the level. Being able to attack very quickly, and even if someone wants to avoid the mix-up by running to the corner, they are not able to. So Spaceys have a unique element to this stage that allows them to be able to threaten from the top platform, and they can do so pretty quickly because of their fast fall speed and the lower top platform, and because the short bottom platform. So you can see every aspect of the stage is working with their character attributes. And also, of course, they have very quick attacks that stay out for a little bit that can lead into follow-ups. And this isn't, back air isn't the only thing you can do. So I'm going to let the Doc come back. We'll push him off. You can instead run off and shine, right? There's no reason, and then you can fake that, right? Or you can fake coming off with back air. Like maybe they kind of anticipate that and try to go for an attack. You can just double jump, go to the platform, right? So you act like you're going to attack, and then you just come in with the back air there. There's a lot of things you can kind of do to play off of someone that wants to kind of see this coming. And again, we're talking about using the stage, using these platforms to your advantage. And you don't even have to double jump, right? You can just go to the platform and then you can shield drop through and back here. So there's a lot of options that you can do to play off of someone that is concerned about doing this. And this is something that, you know, uses your character attributes pretty well. So I'm going to kind of talk through a couple other characters. We've talked kind of about what Fox and Falco can do. Let's talk about like why this can still be a good stage for Marth. So for Marth, this used to be a stage that, you know, everyone didn't want to play against Marth on, and that's because Marth's sword, as you can kind of see, goes through so much of the platform. Up tilt doesn't really go through the whole platform, but up air does. Forward smash is going to go through pretty much all of the platform, not the entire thing, but most of it. It's going to be very easy to tipper here, although sometimes you will have to space kind of precisely to do so. So that's going to be a tipper there. Let's see if we can get the dock above us again. That's also going to be a tipper, even though I was spaced a little farther away. But you can actually miss, right? So I'm on this little slant right here. If you'll notice, there is actually a little slant. I haven't talked about it yet. But look at, there's this little angle right here where you can see the stage actually starts to slope downwards, and it's on both sides of the stage. And this is actually very interesting because it means that you have to be spaced very particularly. So I missed before when I was directly under Doc, which normally works, but when I was a little farther backward, I hit him. And that's just a quirk of the stage that you have to know and use to your advantage. However, for Marth, there's a great application for this with edge guards. Marth's down tilt actually hits well below the stage now. It still hits below the stage normally, but now it can hit characters that he normally couldn't hit, like Marth double jumping to the edge, for example. You can also forward smash. You can see actually here, I'm standing here, and my forward smash is kind of going, you can kind of see it's going more horizontally. And I walk forward a little bit more, and now you can kind of see it starting to go down, right? And so that's going to go a little bit lower. That's going to hit characters that normally can go under Marth's forward smash or down tilt. And this is going to be important when covering certain Firefox and Firebird up B angles as well, because it means that if they want to do sweet spot spacings that are farther away, that are harder to hit, Marth doesn't have to stand all the way here. He might be able to be a little farther away and still be able to forward smash them or down tilt them. But it also means if they go like they go up this way, they go above him, or they even go really high, then if Marth tries to go for a swing, he's going to miss where he could normally hit. So make sure that you're kind of aware of that. And that's something that can apply to other characters too, right? Falco's up tilt might not reach right here, but it'll reach, you know, here. So this is a very important part of the stage, and you really want to know how to be able to play off that. But yeah, again, I talked about this with Marth already, but if you are dashing, I mean, you can see how far that goes. You're basically cornered after one full dash from Marth from center of the stage. So this is something that you have to be very careful about. And this is why I say as Marth, you don't really want to do a whole bunch of movement, because you can corner yourself really easily. And so I think moving a little less and using aerials and down tilts a little more is better on this stage. And, you know, a lot of characters, if they are cornered, or even kind of cornered, right? Forward air is going to cover so much of this platform that it's going to be really hard for anyone to deal with, right? And I'm right here, I can just jump forward, and now I've covered so much of the platform, right? And so this can be really strong for Marth to just space aerials and make the opponent kind of deal with it on this stage. But again, if you want to just control your stage without dashing back, you have retreating nair, you can move backward and down tilt. You can just slightly wave dash back and down tilt, so don't do a full one. This is a full one, that still goes kind of far. You can do it, but yeah, maybe more slight shallow angle into down tilt can be good for you. And so these are things that you can kind of use, different sort of tactic. You can jump backwards and forward air, right? And you can always control your drift spacing and when you want to fast fall and everything. Don't even have to aerial, then you can land in down tilt. A lot of options you have as a Marth player. So you want to make sure you know how to use that to your advantage. We'll talk about, oh, can I not switch to that in training mode? That's kind of neat. So as Sheik, there's a thing that a lot of Sheik players know about, where if you short hop, you land on the platform. So as Sheik, if you hold down, if you're just holding down when you short hop, you don't even have to fast fall. You'll just go right through it. And that can be something you can use kind of to trip up someone, and you can kind of, and so I'm just C-sticking up. And you have to notice if I did it too early, I just land on the platform. But I can pressure platforms this way. And if I C-stick too early, then I still get an aerial. So Sheik, I can actually, I'm not holding down here, but because of the slope, it's a little bit lower, and so I don't land on the platform. So knowing exactly where you do and don't land on the platform for your short hop is going to be important for Sheik. But if I do my frame 1 nair, then I don't land on the platform. So if I do it too late, then you see I do land on the platform. So there are actually various ways to avoid landing on the platform so that you don't get interrupted trying to do your aerial. And so you notice, like, I try to do this forward air, and I instead of having it come out, I just aerial interrupt onto the platform, which lets me land a little sooner, which can be good, but otherwise it can kind of keep me in a tough spot. But yeah, again, Sheik can threaten platforms super well, and you'll notice how I was able to kind of do that without landing on the platform there. So it's very important to know how to abuse the stage, well as Sheik. And you'll notice I can go from the top platform. I'm not even L canceling, I'm just auto canceling. And I can pressure out. I believe I can pressure dock right here, and I can. I just have to make sure I get my fast fall and my drift right. So there's a lot of things Sheik, can do here. Needle, Sheik doesn't really want to needle. As you can see, she can't really hit that platform very well, but she can hit the ground pretty well coming off the platform, and so that can be a pretty strong option for her. So make sure you know how to interact with this stage as Sheik. A lot of things you can do to connect the platforms and things like that. Quick tip for Falcon players on this stage. One of the biggest things is that on lower platforms, knee is going to hit. You can still back air, you can still up air, and that's going to be great for you. You just have to make sure that if you're running in and attacking, like say you go for a full nair across the stage, you're already going to be kind of cornered. So if you're in the middle of the stage, or if you're actually in the middle of the stage, you run all the way off, right? So you have to make sure you really control your drift as Falcon. Maybe wave dash back before you go for something to try and make sure you precisely control your spacing so you don't corner yourself as much, or you don't drift forward all the way. It can be really good for you. Falcon can also make use of runoff up air. Very strong option. And back air, look how far the back air is going to go if I'm not fast falling. Missing wave dashes a little bit, a little embarrassing. But you can see that can go past the middle of the stage as a threat, which can be pretty good, although you are turned around. But if we aren't fast falling or up air, then we still go past the middle of the stage. And we just do that kind of late. Of course, you can run off with knee as well. And just something else to kind of consider. And you can just fake that, and then you can come down. So Falcon can kind of make use of his quick aerials that are pretty strong and hard to crouch cancel or hold down on and punish. But he also can make use of his quick fast fall speed. So you'll notice he falls down pretty quickly. Maybe not quite as quick as the Spaceys, but still a very quick fall speed that he can make use of to put out some strong moves against his opponent as well. Let's see. And so I think a lot of people get confused about how to play as Puff or against Puff here. And so you'll notice if Puff is at the edge of the stage and does a short hop non-fast fall back air, she gets about to the middle of the stage. But if let's say she's under the platform, so I make it consistent. So she goes about to the underside of that other platform. But if she goes, actually it looks about the same. Yeah, I guess maybe it is about the same. Yeah, it's not too different right here, but I think what trips up a lot of people is when Puff shield drops through the platform and then comes in with back here. It seems like it's going to go a little farther than you might expect. So make sure that since Puff is often not just drifting without fast falling, you have to make sure that you're properly spaced. So if you want to avoid Puff back air from that side platform or below platform position, you have to be pretty much like right here, right? So that's the other side of the stage. So you have to be weaving around this space constantly or trying to intercept Puff as she gets to that spot. And of course, if she is on the top platform, it's going to be hard for her because she doesn't have a quick fast fall. She's not usually going to want to be up there, but she does get drift mix up, like she can nair one way and then fade back the other way, right? Or, if she wants to crash the corner, then she can go all the way to the corner from the center of the top platform. Things like that she can do. So she's going to use her drift, which is really strong, and she's going to minimize the weakness of the the slower fast fall, which is not going to help her very much. So make sure you're watching for where Puff is on the platform, and this is why Hungrybox is on the platform a lot, because he doesn't even have to go through jump squat if he does shield drop through it, but if he wave dashes, which he'll do sometimes, or he'll just run off in forward air. He'll go pretty far. So you have to make sure that you're really watching that space. And then of course, you know, you can fake it, right? You can act like you're gonna do it, then go a little bit farther, and you can jump before you hit the ground. So a lot of things you can kind of do to mix up your positioning as Puff. And you can see I can barely make it onto the platform. I don't know if I can wave land. I can. So there's things you can do to kind of connect the platforms as Puff as well, if you do find yourself up here. Right, and I can fake going through. There's a lot, and I think this is so important for a lot of players, just to spend time on the stage experimenting. What can you do to connect them? Like, there's a situation where I may be playing in a match and I am on this platform and Fox maybe is on the right platform. Do I want to, I want to know how, like, can I hit Fox if he's right here? And maybe I'll take a Fox and I'll push him right here, and it turns out I can. And so then maybe I try to figure out, okay, well, if I can, then maybe Fox isn't going to let me do it, or they're just going to shield. So if they shield, you know, how quick is fast fall grab? Is that going to be quick enough to confuse them? And maybe I fall through with up air instead. Maybe they think I'm going to do something, or I fall through and then I do an up air like this, right? So you're using the way you think about the stage and the fact that you could hit them to explore all other possibilities. And so this is going to be very important testing as a player, and I find this, you know, pretty fun and interesting, and I think a lot of other people find it fun too when I talk to them about it. So something that's really strong about Fox in this level that I actually forgot to mention, thank you for bringing that up, Treelock. So Fox is real, like, Fox already has a really strong edge dash. Everyone knows this, but Fox on the edge on this stage is actually super crazy because he can do this reverse edge dash fully invincibly, and then he can fully, he can come off the platform with, I think, full or at least mostly full invincibility. He also has laser lands he can do, which is not, that was kind of got it there. And I think there are also aerial interrupts that are being discussed in chat that can be done as well. So this is something that makes Fox very hard to really pressure into a bad position on the stage. He's either on the top platform where he can attack from a lot of places, side platform where he can still attack really far and he can still fake, and he comes off with these really fast aerials, as you can see, that we talked about before. Or if he doesn't want to, if he's kind of cornered and kind of pressured, go back to edge, and he can come off with an aerial after laser landing. So there's a lot of things he can do right there to be really safe and keep himself from being pressured or stuck. So as a Fox player, you really want to make sure you use this to your advantage. And if you're playing against Fox, you want to make sure you don't kind of let him sit here for too long so he doesn't consider going for that option. And instead trying to maybe hit him a little sooner. Maybe if he's like right here or right here, maybe don't, maybe make sure you can try and get a punish on him. If you have to force him back, make sure that you know that that's something that he could be considering. And if you see him start going for it, then maybe you can pressure him on the way down. But of course, it's very risky, as Fox could just shine you on your way there or something like that. But yeah, that is going to be my summary on a lot of characters on Yoshi's story. Let me know if you guys enjoyed a bit of stage tips coming out, if this helped you learn how to explore this stage and maybe other stages. And this can also be used for custom stages that are in other modes, how to connect everything. This is something I do when other stages are added to other modes of Melee, and I check them out. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed these stage tips. Let me know if you like this, and if you want me to kind of continue this. I'm just trying to give you guys more guide type content since you're asking for it. Anyway, this is Yoshi's story. Hope you guys enjoy playing on this condensed level.